It is an important reminder that change does not happen overnight, but with each of us doing our part, we can make sure we stay on the right path toward ensuring justice, equality, and opportunity for all. I want to take a moment to recognize our sponsors and partners who have supported this event. Please stand as I call your name. Our gold sponsors are the Chandler Law Firm, Savannah River Mission Complete. All right, our silver sponsors are Savannah River Nuclear Solutions and SRP Federal Credit Union. Our bronze sponsors are the Aiken Electrical Cooperative, Amentum, the City of Aiken, Mead Hall Episcopal School, and Security Federal Bank. Our community partners are Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Kappa Upsilon Omega Chapter, the Aiken Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the Aiken, South Carolina Chapter of the Lynx Incorporated, the Aiken County Branch of the NAACP, the Concerned Ministers Fellowship, Miss Stephanie Franklin. Well, you may as well just keep standing. You've stood up half the Iota Lambda Zeta Chapter of the Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Kimberly Clark, the Aiken Chapter of the National Panhellenic Council, Omicron Tau Lambda Chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Miss Sharon Rogers, Rural Health Services, Sigma Pi Chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, the United Way of Aiken County, and the USCA Aiken Foundation. Our media partners are WAAW Shout 94.7 FM, the Aiken Standard, and Augusta Business Daily. Let's give all of our generous sponsors and partners a round of applause. Let's also thank the local organizations that participated in today's service fair. Today we had representation from more than 25 organizations. These organizations make a difference within our community, and I encourage you to help spread the word about the extraordinary work taking place in our region. Again, thank all of you for joining us this afternoon, and I will turn it back over to Mr. Freeman.
Thank you, Dr. Goodman, for the invocation, and Dr. Mahan for a warm welcome and for acknowledging the generosity of our sponsors and partners. Next, we invite you to stand and join Mr. Trey McLaughlin, Choir Director for the historic Tabernacle Baptist Church, in singing the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. After this selection, Dr. Jamel Hodges here at the University of South Carolina at Aiken will present and recognize the Martin Luther King poster and essay contest winners.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the roar Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Good afternoon. An important part of the annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Community Celebration is recognizing the winners of all of the annual student essay and poster contest winners. Excuse me. Every fall, students throughout Aiken County are invited to share their thoughts about Martin Luther King Jr. holiday and the aspect of his legacy. The committee received many outstanding submissions, and today we will recognize the students whose submissions rose to the top. Steering committee woman, Ms. Stephanie Franklin, and our keynote speaker, Ms. Leslie Price, will assist with the awarding of the certificates. Winners, as your names are called, please come to the front of the stage and be recognized and have your photo taken. The following students submitted the winning poster contest entries for kindergarten to second grade. In third place, we have Anaya Hazen, Clearwater Elementary School. In second place, we have Raul Romero, Clearwater Elementary School. In first place, we have Jackson McLeod, Busby Elementary School. Next, we have our winning entries for the 3rd to 5th grade category, which were submitted in poster form as well. In third place, we have Wasim Al-Jabali from North Augusta Elementary School. In second place, we have Taraya Thompson from Oakwood Windsor Elementary School. And in first place, we have Deja Moody from Busby Elementary School. Congratulations to these winners. The winning artwork pieces are located in the service fair area. If you have not already, I encourage you to view these pieces of artistic work from the talents of our youth. At this time, I would like to recognize our middle and high school award winners. These students were asked to write an essay reflecting on Dr. King's quote, "The arc of the moral compass, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." Winners, as your name is called, please come to the front of the stage to be recognized and have your picture taken. The winning entries for the middle school category were submitted by the following students. In third place, Caden Keller from Jackson Middle School. All right, we don't have Caden here today, but congratulations anyway. Oh, here he is. In second place, we have Ariana Gabby Gardner from Langley Bath Clearwater Middle School. And in first place, we have Thomas D. Burns III from St. Mary's Help of Christians Catholic School. Next, we will have the winning entries for the high school category. Those entries were submitted by the following students. In third place, Taylor Abraham from Meade Hall Episcopal School. In second place, we have Esther Marks from Meade Hall Episcopal School. And last, but certainly not least, coming in first place for the high school category, Rena Humes from Aiken Scholars Academy. Congratulations to all of our winners. Let's give them one another round of applause.
thank you to Mr. Trey McLaughlin for leading us with your incredible voice and Lift Every Voice and Sing. And congratulations to all of the poster and essay contest winners. Next, we will recognize the recipients of the 2023 Human and Civil Rights Champion Awards. Dr. Hyman will announce this year's awards recipient.
Three Human and Civil Rights Champion Awards are given annually during today's celebration, and I have the privilege of announcing these awards today. Two are given to students, one from USC Aiken and one from Aiken Technical College, and one from the Aiken community. The first award goes to a student from USC Aiken. This student has been an integral part of the resurgence of the Peak Mentor Program that supports students from underrepresented populations at USC Aiken. One of the main goals of the Peak program is working with peer mentors, ensuring their role in student retention and success. This student is deeply committed to its integrity and sustainability. She's also a member of the incoming president of CURLS, a student organization that stands for Confident, Unique, Regal, Leading Society. She has developed specific partnerships between organizations that work to provide safe spaces for specific communities on campus. This student leader partnered with the Sigma Tau chapter of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Incorporated, to bring today's keynote speaker, Ms. Price, to campus to talk about the importance of voting and why representation matters in government. Student voter turnout was one of the highest it has been on campus, and this leader was a catalyst to coordinate this effort. Dr. Jamel Hodges shares, and I quote, "This student takes inclusion to a whole new level. She stood up and decided that she wanted to be the coordinator of our Peak program to ensure the success of students from underserved populations were served. Her desire to ensure the success of students through mentoring is unparalleled and deserves to be shouted from the mountaintops. I remain in awe of the amount of passion that resides in this young leader," end quote. The Human and Civil Rights Student Champion Award for USC Aiken goes to Miss Andriana Hill, and I'd ask Andriana to come up and receive the award. The second award goes to a student from Aiken Technical College. This student is a lifelong resident of Aiken County and a graduate of North Augusta High School. She is a natural leader and attends almost every student event. She welcomes new students during orientations, conducts campus tours, and represents ATC at various community events. She delivers snacks, headbands, and water for cancer patients going through treatment at the Cancer Care Institute of Carolina. She helped organize ATC's Giving Tree and gathered donations for residents of the Recovery Road Ministries in Graniteville. This leader served as the past vice president and now current president of ATC's Student Government Association. She has received recognition for her service, including the Top Outstanding Student Service Award from Aiken Technical College. Her advisor shared the following words, and I quote, "I have watched her flourish in her ability to lead students and inspire them to push beyond their challenges. I am convinced that her drive and tenacity will lead her to enormous success and achievement. Please welcome Ms. Jayla Hill to the podium to receive the 2023 Human Rights Student Champion Award. We have a little friendly competition with our friends at Aiken Technology. Thank you, Forrest. The third award is the Human and Civil Rights Community Champion Award. This award is being presented to a USC Aiken professor. She has served as the chair of the Bias Incident Report Team for 1 year. In this position, she fights for the civil rights of students, faculty, and staff. Additionally, she helps improve the sexual health of our community through seminars and workshops. She also served as a member on the Advancing Inclusion and Belonging Task Force in 2019. This leader has served as the advisor to Unity for the last 5 years. This student group organization focuses on offering community and support to members of the campus LGBTQIA+ community and their allies. She's been very active in the USC Aiken Inclusion Advisory Council, as well as Leadership Aiken County. This professor was awarded the Outstanding Commitment to Diversity Award from USC Aiken as a result of her work on campus promoting diversity, and she is loved by her students year after year. A colleague stated that, quote, "Elizabeth is a role model to many of us that work with her. She is a fierce advocate for those that cannot advocate for themselves and truly respects the rights of all individuals. She is most deserving of this award. Would you please help me welcome Dr. Elizabeth Webb to come forward and accept the 2023 Human and Civil Rights Community Award."
Congratulations to all of the Human and Civil Rights Awards recipients, and thank you for demonstrating what it means to be a servant leader. Next, we will hear a musical selection from the Tabernacle Baptist Church. Following the selection, we will have the introduction of the speaker by Ms. Jayla Hill, Aiken Technical College Student Government Association President, and the keynote address by the Honorable Ms. Leslie Price, Aiken City Council member and principal consultant with Amington Nuclear Energy and Environment. Following the address, we will have a recognition of the speaker by Mr. Xavier Pierce, president of the Sigma Tau chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Good afternoon. So the music of the African American community and church was definitely key during the civil rights movement. So you hear a lot of gospel music from that time period, and we're going to sing one of those in just a little bit. A contemporary arrangement of a hymn called "Do Not Pass Me By" or "Pass Me Not." But before we do that, we're going to actually sing just a little bit of a Negro spiritual so that you guys can kind of hear the progression of how blues in the Negro spiritual shaped modern gospel music. Can I have a G, please?
live so God can use me anywhere, Lord, anytime. I'm gonna live so God can use me anywhere, my Lord, anytime. I'm gonna pray so God can use me anywhere, Lord, anytime. I'm gonna pray so God can use me anywhere, my Lord, anytime. I'm gonna sing so God can use me anywhere, Lord, anytime. I'm gonna sing so God can use me anywhere, my Lord, anytime.
Good job. And you can clap along if you want. We're gonna scream.
Pass me not, no gentle Savior. Hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. Do not pass me by. Pass me not, no gentle Savior. Hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. Do not pass me by. Savior, Savior, hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. 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 Pass me by. Do not 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 pass me by. While on others thou art calling. While on others thou art calling. While on others thou art calling. Do not pass me by. Do not pass me by.
is my honor to introduce today the keynote speaker, Ms. Leslie B. Price, a community leader for her ability to make a difference and inspire others to do the same. Ms. Price has more than 40 years of experience in nuclear energy and environment field and currently serves as the principal consultant with Amentum Nuclear Energy and Environment. In this role, she is focused on community capacity buildings and developing strategies to improve economic development opportunities, environmental justice, and innovate technologies in underserved areas. In 1987, Ms. Price became the first female elected at large to the Aiken City Council and has continuously served on the council since, including 2 terms as mayor pro tempore. In addition to these roles, she has served on more than 70 boards over the years and has received more than 100 awards in recognition of her efforts. You can read more of Ms. Price's bio today in today's program. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Price to the podium.
Jayla, thank you for that introduction, and thank you for not reading all that information. To Dr. Heimerman, Chancellor of USCA Aiken, and Dr. Forrest Mahan, President of Aiken Technical College, 2 institutional leaders who provide support annually for this Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration, to the MC, Mr. Freeman, and my friend, to Stephanie Franklin, who served as chairperson of this event for many years, to our platform guests, our clergy, our elected officials that are present, ladies and gentlemen. I am very humbled and honored to serve as your speaker. And I want to personally thank Ahmed Samaha and Dr. Jamal Hodges for pushing me to become your speaker on today, and for my being able to stand before you. I also want to thank my family and friends for their support. They're in the audience. I have brothers, and I think I have a sister or 2 out there, and my husband especially, along with relatives that traveled from Columbia, South Carolina, and other locations. Normally, our speakers carry a national profile, but the committee decided that we have a legacy of unrecognized heroes within our standard metropolitan area of which we live, which can be a new beginning to hear the stories of local leaders. Believe me when I say I am truly humble and tried my best to convince them that we could find someone else. Our theme today is the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. And we are here today to honor and celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., an African-American preacher, superior and persuasive with his compelling oratorical skills, with words that would inspire and promote any audience to action. Born on July 15, 1929, in a house of religion and activism, if Dr. King had lived, the family would have celebrated his 94th birthday 1 week ago. Dr. King was assassinated on April 4, 1968, 55 years ago, and he died at the age of 39. His education began early in life. His mother was a teacher who taught him to read before he entered school, and he skipped his first and last year at Booker T. Washington High School and entered college when he was a junior at the age of 15 years old. In 1948, Dr. King graduated from Morehouse College with a BA degree in sociology. At 17 years old, he delivered his first speech that focused on equality at Ebenezer Baptist Church, where his father was pastor. Dr. King was ordained as a minister and worked closely with his father. He felt that through religion, he could best answer his inner urge to serve humanity. In 1948, he attended the first integrated school, Crozer Theological Baptist Seminar in Pennsylvania. He loved the inspirational teaching of Mahatma Gandhi and graduated with a Bachelor of Divinity degree in 1951. He earned his PhD from Boston University, where he met the love of his life, Coretta Scott, who was attending the New England Conservatory of Music. He and his wife had 4 children: Yolanda, Denise King, Martin Luther King III, Bernice King, and Dexter King. Remembering our history is not always an easy discussion or subject by some. Our past is about people. It's about values, which makes the subject difficult or uncomfortable to many people who have said, why do we share those unpleasant stories? This is the past. Why can't we just move forward? To quote George Santayana, a Spanish-born philosopher, those who do not learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. When we discuss history, it is important to tell the whole story and not omit selected pieces that may offend our friends and our neighbors. The history, you all, of slavery is brutal and it's real, and some brutal things happen. The legacy of some of our history is shameful and has impacted so many people, leaving a lot of hate and bitterness. And that is why it is so important to address diversity and inclusion as we share our stories. But let me share a bit of history before moving forward. From 1916 to 1970, more than 6 million African Americans left cities and moved to the north because there was a need for industrial workers, which contributed to the population growth in New York, in Chicago, in Philadelphia, Cleveland, and Detroit. They traveled by bus, by train, by boat, or however they could get to these locations. They wanted to move north or west because they disliked being forced to sit in the back of the bus in the South and being forced to use separate bathrooms, separate doctor's offices, waiting rooms, segregated schools and housing, segregated barbershops, and segregated sports, and on and on. They carried their fried chicken and boiled peanuts because they knew they could not eat in the train dining area, but they knew they had enough food in their bags to tide them over until they reached their destination. This was the first step these servants ever took without asking their slave owners for permission to do anything. This one move reshaped the social and political geography of every city they fled from. Before the migration began, 90% of all African Americans lived in the South. By 1970, 47% of African Americans were living in the North and West. African Americans felt that by leaving, they would have a better opportunity to participate in democracy and force the North to pay attention to injustices in the South and the consistent fight against justice. That one action changed the course of their lives and the lives of their children. These folks would later become John Adams, the doctor, rather than John Adams, the sharecropper. They would enter professions that their parents and grandparents never dreamed of. For example, music, literacy, arts, medicine, theater, become poets, writers, to name a few. The population growth to these cities introduced new cultures. For example, the Harlem Renaissance in New York helped to introduce the jazz age in American history. African Americans felt that people began to develop pride in their heritage and its people. For example, James Weldon Johnson, Langston Hughes, Rudolph Fisher, and others. They felt the stereotypes that people had of African Americans began to change. And others saw that they were loving and kind and that they only wanted the same things that others wanted, to enjoy a good paying job with good wages, health care, affordable housing, safe communities, and to be treated with fairness and respect, and to get a good education. They thought they saw freedom at last. But at their new location, even the places blacks were permitted, they were relegated to the lowest paying and most dangerous jobs, barred from many union jobs, and was hired at some companies only as strike breakers, which further divided blacks and white workers. Blacks were confined to dilapidated housing in the least desirable sections of town, to which they moved from those locations immediately. They were frustrated with what they were experiencing because those were the reasons they left the South to move to the North and the West. Lessons learned. The grass is not always greener on the other side. They fought to move their families to better conditions, but was met with restrictive covenants clauses in their deeds that outlawed African Americans until it was challenged in the Supreme Court. There were many unpleasant stories of this kind taking place in the North and West. But during migration, a story is told of a 4-year-old boy boarding a train with his grandmother and extended family after leaving Mississippi in 1935. This little boy overheard conversation from the adults nearby about whether he should have been left with his father's family. His mother left town following separation from his father, and the little boy, the 4-year-old boy, did not know if he would ever see his mother again. His grandfather had already gone north. The little boy suffered trauma after being uprooted from his mother and developed a stutter that was embarrassing, and he began to speak less and less. At church, the children would mock him and laugh at him when he tried to speak. So he talked to the cows and the hogs and chickens on the farm, who he said later didn't care how he sounded. The boy did not speak for 8 years and wrote down the answers to questions and was fearful to be introduced to strangers until a high school English teacher encouraged him, Rosemary English, encouraged him to break his silence by having him read poetry to the class. The boy was James Earl Jones, who would later go to the University of Michigan, where he abandoned pre-med for theater, later playing King Lear, Roots, Coming to America, The Great White Hope, and many other theater appearances. The moral of this story is James Earl Jones' voice was silent for so long, but he found hope when he saw opportunities in a field that he could devote his passions. There was a moment in history that our country had reached a turning point in the fight for racial justice that had been building for decades. That was the year of the killing of Medgar Evers at the age of 38, a civil rights activist in Mississippi. of the bombing that exploded in 1963 before church services began at 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, where 4 little girls, 3 of them ages 14 and 1 11 years old, were killed in the basement. When Governor Wallace attempted to block integration of 2 black students from the University of Alabama in 1963, and the year of the March on Washington in 1963, advocating for jobs and freedom, where Dr. Martin Luther King shared his unforgettable "I Have a Dream" speech. It was the largest political rally for human rights in the history of the United States. And in 1963, Dr. King wrote his letter from a Birmingham jail. Dr. King believed that justice too long delayed is justice denied. And when people tell you to wait and that it takes time, it is almost never that something's going to happen. Dr. King was arrested 29 times in the fight for justice for all. But a lot has changed in our society over the 60 years. Many good things have occurred. The first black president was elected. The first black female Asian as vice president has been elected. The first black female Supreme Court justice in the nation's history was confirmed in 2022. And the list of firsts goes on and on. But thank you. But our country is still faced with many challenges, and we need to think seriously about our democracy and use untapped talents that includes young people. I am so proud of these young people that came before us. Let's give them a round of applause. We need to use middle-aged people and seniors that we have overlooked and include them in meetings and conversations as we plan for the future. This inclusiveness will create new ideas and expand opportunities. When we bring a diverse group together, the progress we can make is without limits. If you have little or no knowledge and understanding of the problems communities are facing, it is difficult to find solutions, which is why it is important to have a diverse group, not in the room, but at the table. The issues surrounding families and the problems they face daily are overwhelming to some. They worry about our economy. They worry about the cost of education. They worry about child care. They worry about the rising costs in rental properties, cost of health care and medicine, cost of gas and food, interest rates going up, problems facing inflations and climate change and the environment, high cost of their utility bills and broadbands, insufficient raises, not making enough money to support families due to inflation. And the list goes on and on until families sometimes lose hope and some resort to illegal activities. Some are working 2 to 3 jobs and not making a living wage. Many have no health insurance and suffering from addiction and need mental health. Some do not work because they cannot afford daycare for their children, and many are living in substandard housing. People need jobs, but because of criminal records, are having difficulty in getting hired. Our young children, you all, are killing each other, and families do not know where to find counseling on issues they're facing daily. Over the years, I've asked myself, how do we keep Dr. King's dream alive? Because the arc of moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Dr. King wants us to be active spokespersons for neglected communities who face poverty, who live in distress and underserved communities, and develop solutions for families in need. Will it be easy? No. Will we all agree? No. But we must work together to create safe neighborhoods and create opportunities to those who have lost hope. If we are just celebrating Dr. King's legacy without doing the work that is needed, we're only putting on a mask and just showing platitude. But here are a few success stories that have solved issues with families and in our community. starts with be a friend to someone different than you. Reach out to someone that is truly in need. The story goes, one Christmas, a family of 4 people wanted to help a family in need. They reached out to an agency to identify that family and was led to meeting a grandmother who raised 8 children. The family of 4 purchased gifts for the grandmother and the 8 children. Christmas passed, and the family of 4 felt good about what they had done. As the new year approached, the family of 4 realized the grandmother was facing bigger problems. I was asked if I knew the family and had any objections to meeting the grandmother. I agreed to meet her and was introduced to her. The problem was the condition of the house that the grandmother and children was living in. They had no front door to the 4-room home, only several blankets nailed to the wall. Although she kept the house neat and tidy, there were holes in the floor covered with rugs. It was obvious that she needed another place to live, and one with more bedroom space for the children. We searched and we searched for a 4-bedroom unit, affordable 4-bedroom unit, what was facing a brick wall. And finally, we ran into Reverend Charles Matthews, the assistant pastor at Second Baptist Church, who provided the family a 4-bedroom home. The home was furnished through donations, and for the first time, each child had their own bed to sleep in. What a gift. The family of 4 who helped in their own way the grandmother through this process is Keith and Angela Wood and his family. When I ran for public office as the first female at large for city council in 1975, I lost that election, but my friend, Representative Bill Clyburn, and Councilman Willa Hightower would run at large with success. But during this time, Michael Smith and later James Gallman was president of the Aiken chapter of the NAACP. Mr. Gallman has always been a strong advocate for equal employment opportunities, equal justice, and fair treatment in the workplace, and would not hesitate to contact an employer based on hiring and promoting practices. He now serves on the National NAACP Board. In 1987, this is a good story, a consent decree was filed to the Justice Department alleging that the current at-large method of electing council members in Aiken results in African Americans having less opportunity to participate in the political process and to elect candidates of their own choice. Although the city disagreed with the charges, the decision was later made by City Council to approve a 6-1 voting plan where each council member represents a district that was recommended by the NAACP. The interaction with the Aiken City Council and the NAACP was very respectful and courteous. A point to note from Richard Johnson, who have attended a number of City Council meetings through his lifetime. The Aiken City Council chambers have never instituted policies where blacks and whites would segregate in the council chambers. It has always been open seating for people to sit wherever they are comfortable. During the 1960s, we had 3 pastors who were activists: Reverend Norman Bush with Friendship Baptist Church, Reverend Alfonso Holman with Cumberland AME Church, and Reverend Jack Kelly at Second Baptist Church. They worked as a team and would frequently meet with plant managers and business owners regarding concerns in hiring practices and promotion of black employees. Many positive outcomes came as a result of those meetings. And then there was a lady by the name of Barbara Page Walker, an unsung hero, like many of you out there, and trailblazer in Aiken County. Ms. Walker directed the choir at Friendship Baptist Church, where I am a member, and took many children under her wings, exposing them to many recreational activities, bowling, and other outdoor activities. She was generous and took funds out of her pocket to help many of us because our families could not afford to pay for these activities. It was Barbara Page Walker that introduced me to the world of politics when I was 10 years old. We knocked on many doors, encouraging people to register to vote. It was Bobby Brooks that spent time educating us on the importance of voting. We are seeing more and more how poverty affects families and the impact of crime in communities. Families that are poor or have a low income are more likely to commit crime to meet their own needs to survive. Neighborhoods where the poor are concentrated are more prone to high crime, and oftentimes poor residents are the most common victims of these crimes. Poverty is the root cause of many crimes in the world, such as theft, murder, drug possession, and other criminal acts. People need advanced education, apprenticeship training, life skills, and job skills. The solution to poverty is to increase wages and have a good-paying job. And I don't mind standing before you and letting you know I am a strong proponent of $15 an hour starting pay for our workers. This happens by creating more jobs and job training. Apprenticeship South Carolina is doing a fantastic job through our technical college system, and the Lower Savannah Council of Government and Aiken Technical College works with businesses to train students in various apprenticeship skills, ready for job placement. The USCA Aiken campus prepares our students in the STEMs and STEAMs area, and there are many job openings in these fields. A good-paying job, this is what a good-paying job will do. It allows families to afford child care so that mothers and fathers can go to work. It allows you to save for college for your children, allows you to go to PTA meetings and visit your children's teachers. It allows you to participate in your children's activities because you're not working 2 to 3 jobs to make ends meet. I heard some parents at a meeting say that their child was graduating and they couldn't attend their child's graduation because of fear of being fired. They were only making $8 per hour. I had a recent conversation with one of our sons, who's not here today, and I think he's flying from California, who stated, "Mom, there is no excuse for us, people like me, in this age of society, not to be great. All of the tools, he said, are out there and in place for greatness." He continued by saying, "I operate under an attached African-American proverb, each one, teach one, reach one." This son works with HBCUs across the country. Policy reform is needed for minor charges in nonviolent crimes and incarceration. Drug offenses make up the largest category of inmate population. As a matter of fact, almost half. And marijuana offenses continues to be one of the most seriously punished offense, which places incarceration of black offenders at a higher rate than other races. There are 2 million people in the nation's U.S. prisons and jails. Policy reform is needed for nonviolent crimes. Suggestions, though, on how we can move forward. Lead by example. Dr. King led by example. He did not tell the folks that marched with you, "I've got a plan to march," and stayed at home. He was out front marching with the people and demonstrated to others what a nonviolent and peaceful protest should look like. Each one of us in this room can lead by example. Let us be guided by our principles, even if others are against what we are saying. Even if we are persecuted, lead by example. Dr. King said, "The measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." Have faith. People that was close to Dr. King knew that there was many days filled with doubt. Yes, he had hope. Yes, he was always in prayer, but sometimes discouraged. We all face this. But he also knew that having faith and taking the first step, even when you don't see where you are going, gives you courage. He never gave up. He realized that nothing easy is worth having, and nothing worth having is easy. Having faith is our greatest legacy. So we celebrate this legacy of Dr. King. Don't count yourself out. Whether you are black or white, rich or poor, you must realize that you are a part of his legacy, because his legacy was about peace, it was about passion, it was about service, and about the rich and the poor. Yes, he endured hard times, but that was his purpose on earth and what God called him to do. His life story tells us that change can come if we don't give up. He was determined to travel the distance. At times, the struggle seems hopeless, but God made a way out of no way. His life ended as God wanted it to, and he left each of us with a responsibility to serve others. Don't become discouraged. When it appears that we are facing defeat, don't stop. This is his legacy, and this is why he will always honor him. And at the end of your journey in life and mine, what will others share of the legacy we left behind? Some of you may think that you have no power and you can't do anything. Believe me when I say that God takes ordinary people to do extraordinary things. I'm a rural girl, grew up on a farm, had no idea, coming from Barnwell County, the small town in Blackville, South Carolina. I think we have 2 red lights right now. With 9 brothers and sisters, that we would move to Aiken, and I would become the first female in Aiken to run for public office in 1975, thanks to many friends out in the audience. And if I start naming, it would be countless. And the first female elected at large in 1987 in the city's entire 150-year history. I had no idea that I would introduce the U.S. presidents twice and asked to travel in presidential motorcades. Coming from a small town, I had no idea that I would be invited to dine in Washington with U.S. ambassadors as guests of the White House. I had no idea that I would introduce many of the presidential candidates. In 2019, in the 2019 race, there were over 15 candidates. I had no idea that I would introduce, that I would be appointed to national boards by the Secretary of Energy and the Secretary of Education that impacted environmental justice, energy and the environment, and education. I had no idea that my career would advance at Savannah Riverside and provide me the freedom to create innovative programs that impacted children and workforce development and send students to the UK, United Kingdom, on a full-funded internship that allowed them to not only work and gain good skills, but a trip to Paris while they were in the United Kingdom. I am from very humble beginnings, and this is not supposed to happen to me. My family was in the category of most unlikely to succeed, but we had great parents. My father was a sharecropper. My mother was a domestic worker. They had very little formal education, and no one in my family had graduated from college. But it is not about being first, but about why I ran and the concerns within neighborhoods. The citizens in the community complained consistently about what was not being done because of the neighborhood of which we lived. Trash not being picked up, roads in horrible conditions, abandoned and burned houses, with no solutions in place to remove them. After listening to this for so long, my comments were, why don't you run for public office and be a part of the solution? Many of the citizens were highly qualified, but did not want to take the risk. Therefore, my first filing for public office was to demonstrate that I had very little to offer, but willing to be a part of the change. Thanks to Bill and Beverly Cliven for their encouragement. When I filed to run for the at-large seat for City Council, the comment was made, Leslie Price, who does she think she is? She ain't got no qualifications to run for nothing. Needless to say, I lost that election, but others followed and was unsuccessful. As a little girl at Friendship Baptist Church, I would sit in the back rows of the church and read scripture. When I became bored with the message, excuse me, pastors are out there, and during my reading, became attached to Judges 6:15, which constantly reminds us how God chooses the least of us and the unlikely to do his work. Thank you. Many unlikely and uneducated people have altered the course of history. I have been recently asked by a student who was doing a class project, what have I done as a politician, and what success can I take credit for? My reply was, when you are on council, it is a team effort. While I may bring forward suggestions or recommendations, all of the city council members, and they're sitting on the front row, will vote on suggestions recommended by any city council member for approval or rejection. So it becomes a council decision when it is approved. I shared with her that I am simply an ordinary person that has stood on the shoulders of many giants. She had a series of questions to ask me, and they were all great questions. How did I feel about winning the first election, and was I proud? I commented, I felt good, but told her after winning any election, it provides a gratification, but the real work comes and you have to roll up your sleeve. She later asked, what have I done, and have I provided solutions to problems within the community? And I provided a list of items. She asked again, how have I helped people with jobs and job training? The answer was yes, I have. I work with committees that provide workforce training for youth and adults in 7 counties. Have I helped to provide affordable housing? The answer was yes. The city of Aiken has built and renovated more than 300 affordable houses during my tenure in partnership with the Housing Authority and churches. Have I helped those that are incarcerated to get second chances in life? The answer was yes. And I'm thinking, who is this teacher? I worked with businesses to enact programs that provided training and opportunities for released inmates. Have I given to the sick and provided assistance to the homeless? The answer to that question was yes. Do I volunteer and give up my time, or do I just serve on city council? I talked about the talent and service to the communities. The answer was yes to that question. I serve on many boards that range from education, reform, economic development, and listed all of those boards. I felt so proud with her questions, but most of all, I felt proud about the educators that serve within our system and the civic lessons that are being taught in the classroom. This young student is headed for success. I also sat back and felt great about the things that was being done within our city and the things to come in the very near future by working together. But I also left the interview feeling good after sharing information with this student. But then I stepped back and I had an quick inner reflection that reminded me about life and our individual contributions and what we truly value and what is really important in life. Realizing that when the end comes and all is said and done, you all, if I don't have the love of God in my heart, it will never get me or any of us in heaven. Thank you for listening, and may God bless and keep all of your families.
Thank you, Ms. Price, for sharing such a wonderful message with us today. You are a true inspiration and role model for our community, and as a student leader, it is motivating to have the opportunity to learn from you. And truly embodies what it means to serve and lead in the same as my fraternity, Brother Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. served and led. On behalf of the University of South Carolina, Aiken, and Aiken Technical College, I would like to present you with this token of our appreciation. I'm so sorry. There you go.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you out there? Good afternoon. Just because it's a dreary day outside doesn't mean it has to be a dreary day inside. So good afternoon. To the Honorable Miss Leslie Price. Miss Leslie Price is a bad girl. Y'all just need to give it up for her. She is a bad, phenomenal woman. I just love her. And she's a very humble woman. And for her to share her story about her humble beginnings and to share what she has been able to accomplish should be an inspiration to all of us. Regardless of our age or our condition or our situation, both economically and even physically, that with God, all things are possible. Amen? Amen. To our platform guests and essay, poster, and humanitarian winners, thanks for your participation and congratulations on how you have served this community. Mr. Freeman, thank you for accepting the invitation to be our MC today. You've done an excellent job. Many of you know that I'm a member of the historic Tabernacle Baptist Church, so it was my honor to have my pastor here and our choir today. So in their absence, will you please give them a round of applause and thank them. To the students volunteering today, are any of the students still here? You were dressed in your wonderful black and white. I thank you. I see some of you. Thank you. You can stand up. I want us to recognize our students. Thank you. Year in and year out, they come and they escort our guests, and they try to make you feel comfortable and hope that you have a wonderful experience. Did you have a wonderful experience today? Excellent. And a special thanks to Ms. Elizabeth Morris for taking the lead on training with our students and providing guidance to them. To our sponsors, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you again. Year after year, without hesitation, you sponsored this community event. And because of your dedication, this event is free. So, thank you. Can we give our sponsors another round of applause? It takes a team working together to plan and to execute an event of this scale. An event that we call our community to come together and to celebrate and honor the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This steering committee I've had the honor to work with over a number of years, and these are my friends and my extended family. Okay, I'm getting all kinds of notes here. I have served with them for almost 10 years, and the planning starts during the summer. And this group works tirelessly to ensure that we have a great event each year. You've been amazing to work with, and I thank you for working together so effortlessly. And so will the committee please stand? Committee? And every year, I ask Dr. Joel Scraper, will he and his choir participate with us each and every year, and they have done an excellent job and always do an excellent job. So may we recognize the choir. Thank you so very much. You always sound beautiful. So, ladies and gentlemen, my heart is a little full today. It's been my honor to serve as the chairperson for this event for almost 10 years. And today is my last time serving in this role. And I want to thank you enough for your support throughout the years of showing up, regardless of inclement weather, whether we've asked you to tune in via a link, you have done that. And you are always here supporting University of South Carolina, Aiken, and Aiken Technical College, and our efforts to bring an event to this community that will be inspiring and that will call us to serve. So on a personal note, I want to extend special thanks to the University of South Carolina, Aiken, Dr. Harmon, to Aiken Technical College, Mr. Forrest Mahan, for giving me this opportunity to lead in this role, and I've always been supportive of what the committee has wanted to do in providing this event to the community. I want to thank the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Will you please stand? There's no secret that I am an Alpha Kappa Alpha member, and these ladies support me wherever I go, so I'm always appreciative of them. I am also an esteemed member of the Aiken, South Carolina Links Incorporated, and will you please stand? This is also my extended family, and I thank you. And I would also like to thank all the members of the Divine Nine. Will you please stand? Divine Nine. These are the men and women that work tirelessly in this community, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a member of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, so we always want to honor him in that tradition. My family is also in the audience today, and they're also watching. Hello, family. I love you. My mom, will you please stand, Miss Speed Bell Thompson? She's waving. Hi, Mom. And my aunt is here, Ms. Zan Curry, and she's waving. And watching are my bonus dad, Mr. Abe Thompson, and my children. And I want to send a shout out to my children because my youngest son just got married and they are having a baby, and the baby is due in March. And my daughter-in-law, Shanae, is not feeling too well, so I told them to rest and to watch. So I love you all. And I was expecting my godmother to be here, Miss Judith Ruffin. Are you here, godmother? Oh, there she is. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for being here. I have had the pleasure of serving as the chair, as I indicated, for this committee for about 10 years. I can tell you I have enjoyed seeing this event grow and bring inspiration to those of you who participate year after year in support of the university and Aiken Tech. And again, I thank you because you don't have to do this. And Dr. Harmon, when you came in, you could have changed things, but you didn't. And I love the rivalry between the two of you. It's a gentleman's rivalry. I always enjoy watching that banter going back and forth, but they are very good friends. And the two of them have made a commitment to honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I also like this event because it is one of the most diverse community-held events in our community, and it brings me joy for us to come together as I am a diversity advocate. And my prayer that this diversityness, this togetherness that you are witnessing today, that it will never change. To Dr. Hyman and Dr. Mahan, again, thank you for supporting this vision and for the opportunity to lead. And as we bring this event to a close, I again want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank you, the community, for joining us and making this event a huge success. This event is held annually on the Sunday following the Dr. Martin Luther King Day, so please save the date for 2024. And keep in mind, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And it is our responsibility to help it bend towards justice. So I challenge each and every one of us to keep the King's dream alive. And I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I believe he said this in his March for the Integrated Schools, and it was back in April of 1959, and I quote, "Make a career of humanity. Commit yourself to the noble struggle for equal rights. You will make a better person of yourself, a greater nation of your country, and a finer world for all of us to live in." Again, it's been my pleasure and my honor to have served you. May God continue to bless each and every one of you. And at this time, I will welcome to the podium Dr. Mahan, who will be followed by Dr. Frank Sawyer to give us our benediction. Thank you.
Well, on the program, I'm listed with a special recognition, and actually there's a couple of recognitions I need to make. When Miss Leslie sat down after her speech, and I told her, I said, it's the first time I have ever seen someone get a standing ovation before the speech. If that were ever to happen to me, I would just turn around and take the win and sit down. And then she got the standing ovation afterwards. So again, great speech, Miss Leslie. Now, something funny happened up here on the stage when Xavier was, going to give the gift to Miss Leslie. He reached a little too low in the podium and picked up another gift. And I need Dr. Heimerman to come up here to help me with this special recognition. Because if Xavier had given this gift to Miss Price, instead of Miss Franklin, who we need to come up to the podium, Dan would have to be the one to get it back from her, not me. So, Miss Franklin, on behalf of the Aiken Technical College and the University of South Carolina, Aiken, we want to thank you for your years of service to the committee. Your leadership has helped this event grow to what it is today and has been a guiding light for a committee that works hard because their leader works hard. Please accept these tokens of appreciation on behalf of Aiken Technical College, the University of South Carolina, Aiken, and the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Community Celebration Steering Committee.
Please stand for prayer as you are able. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for the life and witness of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., for gathering us this afternoon to remember him and his work for equality, justice, freedom, and peace. As we go forth, let us commit ourselves to these causes in our lives and in the world, being hopeful, for the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Let us recall the prophetic words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. also. In these words, with faith, we will be able to go on to carve a tower of hope on the mountain of despair and bring into being that great dream and create right here in America a nation where we all live together and respect the dignity and worth of the human personality. Lord, may we this day be committed in our hearts and in our actions to walk in Dr. King's footsteps. May we continue to carve that tower of hope until the mountain of despair has been completely transformed, and we inhabit a world where equality, justice, freedom, and peace ring out across our land, and that we live by love. And now go forth in peace with the Lord's blessing. May God lighten your path, guide your hands, and strengthen your wills this day and always. Amen.
I was telling Dr. Mahan, I have a growth on my eye. I'm thinking, am I going to get through this? It popped up this morning, so the left eyelid is forward. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness.
You did it magnificent.
Thank you so much. It was a little bit lengthy.
You had a lot of history